We talk about this over and over, good people. We talk about it. I'm supposed to be taking a nap right about now, but can't afford to do that right now with this going on. Uh, I just did a live, was not supposed to go live again, and we just couldn't help it. This was far too important. Some people in the chat was saying it as it was going down. They was deliberating, but now everyone's nightmare has become a reality. Yeah, we're gonna go through all of this. This man who was on video running from the white woman got found guilty. Ooh, buddy, buddy boy. Listen, this is sad, people. This is a real sad day. I tried to tell people they don't believe in situations and things of that nature. They weren't out to get him like that. Oh no, he's done for Marvel. This is it's gonna be crazy. How do they hire him and keep him aboard? How do they keep him aboard with this happening? It's not about what he's gonna get. He can actually appeal the decision. But for those who didn't know what happened today, wow. The New York jury found Johnathan Majors guilty of reckless assault in the third degree and guilty of harassment. It was a six-person jury. They deliberated for over 4 hours across about 3 days. Johnathan Majors was in a gray suit. He had on his tie and everything with his attorneys, had his family members there. He had Megan Good behind him. And now, February the 6th, they're going to sentence him. The charges will carry a sentence up to 1 year in prison. On the other two charges, he was found not guilty of intentional assault in the third degree and not guilty of aggravated harassment in the second degree. Now, in total, he had faced 4 charges, in case you guys didn't know, for aggravated harassment or harassment, whatever you want to call it. After he called 911 on March 25th of this year, when he said he found his ex-partner, Grace Jabari, unconscious in the crib. Now, the police arrested Johnathan Majors after finding injuries on Jabari, including a laceration behind her ear and a bruised and fractured finger. Johnathan Majors pleaded not guilty to all charges. Jabari went to the witness stand during this trial, and she got on there the first 4 days and said that Johnathan Majors has caused her injuries due to an altercation they had in the car several hours before. She had testified that during that incident in a private car that they had, she saw a text on Johnathan Majors' phone that said, "Oh, I would wish to be kissing you." And she got irate and she tried to snatch the phone from him. And he pried her fingers to get the phone and grabbed her arm and right hand and twisted her forearm and struck her head to get the phone away from her. The first 3 charges are misdemeanor offenses and related to the incident in the car. The fourth charge of harassment, which is a violation, that's a minor offense. This is saying that he threw her back in the car as she tried to exit the car. that we see on the tape when he picks her up and put her back in the car when she keeps running into him. And he was trying to stop her from running into traffic to follow him and get hit by a car because she ain't paying no attention. That action is captured on the surveillance video while the altercation inside the car. They said we couldn't get that from the car camera that they have in there. Now, the charges against Johnathan Majors was brought on by the state of New York rather than the woman herself, Jabari. The case was a criminal trial as opposed to a civil one, which means the burden of proof is higher for the jury, who had to find proof of guilt beyond a reasonable doubt on each charge, right? So now we're looking at a whole different situation altogether. And what are we looking at? The erase had implications of what was going to happen. This man had 2 movies out that grossed over 100 million in revenue. He was the biggest villain star for the entire Marvel universe. He was going to be making over $20 million per film, plus Loki, season 2. Hollywood is a very fickle place, but Johnathan Majors was the guy that they liked the most. So his company dropped him, and 360 management, 360 company dropped him immediately. And then his movie that he had, Magazine Dreams, was released from the calendar. Yeah. And then Ross Kramer, who's the attorney for Jabari, said they hope the guilty verdict expires other victims of assault to step up. This is what this idiot actually said. We're grateful to see justice served today of a guilty verdict. Ms. Jabari testified publicly and truthfully, even though revealing some traumatic events on the witness stand was obviously painful. We are grateful for the jury's and the judge's attention and patience, and the Manhattan District Attorney's Office for their hard work. Mrs. Jabari resolved to see this case and demonstrates her tremendous strength and resilience. Unfortunately for the survivors like Mrs. Jabari to come forward and hold their abusers accountable, there are many others who believe that they cannot. We hope that her actions will inspire others to speak their truth. This is crazy. This is what everyone is shocked about. Because, see, during this trial, people, I told you this wasn't going to be a slam dunk, and he was really in trouble because it's in New York. And her credibility isn't good anyway. During the whole trial, and they approached this case of a domestic case, while the defense repeatedly called Jabari's credibility into question. And looking at it as her revenge on Johnathan Majors, who appeared in person every day of the 2-week trial with Megan Good and family members. He did not testify during the trial and showed very little emotion except for when his lawyer said his fear of what happens to a black man in America when he calls 911 came true. And that's when he started to tear up. No black man in America is going to call 911 on themselves if they was beating on a woman. That's just not going to happen. I'm sorry. You could say I'm race baiting. You can say anything you want. But I'm trying to tell you the truth. No black man in the history of this nation will ever call 911 on themselves if they have beaten a woman. Period. So, this wasn't a case of her trying to get him locked up because she never called 911. He did. He called 911. Now let that sink in. He called 911. No, she was never calling 911. He called 911, and she was never calling 911. She wasn't looking for the police. Not at all. As part of the defense, they claimed that Grace Jabari, was the aggressor in the car. Point out the fact that his coat, Jonathan Majors' coat, was ripped and that she was seen on surveillance video running after Jonathan Majors down the street, which we all saw. She was running after him to find out who sent the text. And you could see she was clearly uninjured after leaving the car. She had gone into a revenge partying at the club where she bought champagne on Jonathan Major's credit card while she's still being able to use her right hand while she says she had been injured. Jabari testified that she had some help from three strangers on the street, and after that altercation thing, they invited her to a club where she accepted in order to seek comfort for her alleged attack. If you was attacked, she never told any of the people out there that she was attacked. She never mentioned an attack to none of the three people that came up to her and said, "Oh my God, I've been attacked." The next day, Jabari took a photo of her bruised hand, her laceration behind her ear, and the body cam footage from the officers when they arrived. Prosecutors also introduced a series of text messages as evidence which could prove damaging to Jonathan Major's reputation as they pertain to several alleged incidents that happened during the course. This was done in a way to try to prove he was guilty. Here's why they wanted to do that. And this is why I'm saying New York is entirely different. Those text messages goes back to September of last year. They're trying to show a pattern of behavior. What is a pattern of behavior when it has nothing to do? You have no evidence in this one, except for you see her attacking him. You don't see him attacking her at all. She's attacking him and her hand is bruised. She got a scratch behind her ear. She's trying to take his cell phone, which is his property, which is felony theft. There's video of her chasing him down, grabbing on him, and he's pushing her away from him. Had that been a man chasing a woman down on tape, that man would have been found guilty. There wouldn't even have been a trial. There wouldn't have been a trial. This is all based on money. The New York Police Department is one of the most racist in this state, definitely against black men. All you got to do is watch Jungle Fever. Watch what happened when Wesley Snipes get harassed by the New York cops. And he was like, no, I'm not her boyfriend. And that's just a friend of mine. They would kill him for dating a white woman like that. He's like, what are you doing trying to say we together? You trying to get me killed? And she's oblivious to all of it. Same thing now. No, the New York Police Department was offended that he was dating this white woman. They wanted to know, and it's on the body cam footage. They're asking questions. How can he afford to live here? Now, once they took her in and was going after him, and they didn't realize how weak of a case they really had, now it's like, uh-oh, we got to try to get some evidence to make this thing stick. Because now they are faced with a multi-million-dollar lawsuit on their hands. The New York Police Department for, first of all, wrongfully arresting him and taking him in when he's the one that called the police, and he was the one that was attacked by her. Johnathan Majors was going to sue the New York Police Department for hundreds of millions of dollars because they have tarnished his reputation with this arrest. They knew as soon as he got a non-guilty verdict, they were getting sued. So they had to make something stick to protect them from $100 million lawsuit and then some. So they had to throw some on the wall to make it stick. That's why I said I don't trust it. I didn't trust none of this because that was the sticking point, is that they were liable for a major lawsuit by Johnathan Majors and his team, the New York Police Department. And they were scrambling to try to make this thing stick. The prosecution, everybody was in trouble because this is a guy who just had a Marvel deal for the next like 4 or 5 movies. He's part of that whole plan. And now you just thrown a monkey wrench in that just so they can stick him with some type of meaningless probation or whatever that's going to get thrown out. They know they just want some conviction to stick so that they can't get sued. That's it. This is what happens when the black man calls the police department. You can't do it. Well, it's almost saying the white woman was his problem. And sure enough, it was. Had she been black, this would have never happened. They wouldn't have cared.
So Ryan Clark basically dresses.
They wouldn't have cared. Unfortunately, they wouldn't have cared. Mm-hmm. Well, yeah, there's big problems for him, man. I feel my heart is torn, man, for him because he's just been made an example of and been ostracized for nothing. You know what I'm saying? For absolutely nothing. But they were going to make an example of him, and they used this as the example to make. They had a lot of people behind Grace Jabari that's been telling her what to say. We're going to protect you. They got her out of the country. when they were going to arrest her the first time. And then when she came back, they went and arrested her. They had to charge her for assault. They tried to charge her at first, and then she got out of the country. She was going back overseas, so she was out of the country. And then when she finally came back, they charged her for assault. But not in New York. The actual event happened outside of New York. It was in another town, another district. So wherever that fight happened at, they had to charge her and arrest her. But the incident they charging him for, which was a criminal case in New York, this is what they did to him. Because he's a black man, he can't be staying in Manhattan, downtown, and definitely not living with a white woman. Nah, that can't happen. The racist police department in New York is definitely going to not like that. This guy's one of the biggest actors in Hollywood. Got 2 movies out that's grossing over $100 million. And you telling me he's in there beating this woman? It's not happening. Not in a million years, not in a billion years. No black man is going to do that to himself. He's not. CNN, Fox, they were only telling half the story, telling her all this stuff is lies that you're trying to do. They cut all that out. They only play one insert to try to make people at home feel like, oh, yeah, they got him. Yeah, because you saw the messages. They trying to blur the lines to make it look like the messages from last year over another argument they were having had something to do with this. And they were connected when they really weren't. They're trying to make it look like it was all the same night, the way they're telling the story. So the news is in on it too. Where's Michael B. Jordan? You see that? You see how Michael B. Jordan is distant from all of it. When this went down, he was gone. He was like, this is my brother, everything. He got his Hollywood star, whatever they was talking about, and doing all this stuff, man. They went ahead and immediately they were honoring him, Michael B. Jordan, right away. First thing they did, they was trying to be friends, be brothers. And what did he do? Have him ostracized. They told him, can't be around him. He didn't stand up for him in court. He wasn't sitting in the courtroom with him, but he was brother with him for the whole Creed 3. No, his career don't have to be over, but that depends on black folks. You know what I'm saying? That depends on us. You see, we let them do this to all of our young black talented artists. It's a small window, a small margin for success, and we kick them out. Hollywood kick them out and say we through with them. When they built The Shy, the brother from the TV show The Shy, he was the biggest star in Hollywood for anything black. He was in Godzilla, he was in Mudbound, whatever he did. Man, he did everything. Johnathan Majors did Lovecraft County on HBO. He was in every major movie. He was in like 4 or 5 movies a year. People didn't even know it. It's like, yeah, he was in that. I just forgot about that. He was in White Boy Rick. Yeah, he played Johnny. The Last Black Man in San Francisco. He was in that. He was in a lot of movies y'all didn't even see. And look how they doing. Dana White on video striking his wife. Looking like he kicking her too. Hit her twice. He ain't on trial nowhere. He ain't brought up on charges. He ain't suspended from his job. Nothing. Mm-hmm. What are we gonna learn? When we gonna learn? This is something you can't come to class late on. It's purely racism. That's all it is. This is all about racism. Had that been a black man chasing a white woman out of that car down the street, he would have been arrested, found guilty. They would have stuck everything in him, every charge, harassment, stalking. Look how he's stalking her. It'd have been entirely different. But a white woman chasing a black man down the street, grabbing on him, pulling on him, he's pushing her off. He's not violently pushing her off at all. She's frantically grabbing and pulling on him. He's trying to get away from her. And trying to get away from her, he's charged with assault. He calls 911 on himself. No, he called 911 to help this woman out. Because she done been out partying. If you look at the videotape from her partying, it shows her going into the house, to the lobby, getting on the elevator, coming off the elevator, stumbling drunk, going a long ways to the testimony that he gave that he came home, which the video shows what time he came back to his house. He didn't come home to the next morning. And that's when he found her laying on the floor in his closet, drunk. He didn't know if she was drugged or anything. She told him, I don't know. I think I probably just got a Molly and all this. So that's why he called 911 for her safety. Well, I don't want to do what they do. Like I don't want to do and just say things to be reactionary. I'm saying it to be a truthful person and just give you the real logistics of what's happening. It's racism. It's 100% race. It's racially motivated, racially driven, and that's just it. Yeah, when it's racially motivated like that, you have a lot of people who see things a little differently than others. Like for me, it's a little different. Like a lot of this stuff hits different because I think of a lot of people who argued with the police and lost their life. A lot of people were beaten by the police, lost their lives, and it's a nightmare for some, and we know this far too much because as black folks, we know we got to be on our P's and Q's, and we can't be so reactionary all the time. We have to step up to the plate and deliver, so yeah, well, for us, it's oftenly different. We're going to be always surrounded by people who see us in a different light. We're going to always be pitted against each other, and blame what one person done is going to affect all of us as a whole race. That never happens to anybody else but us. Always in the negative, never in a positive. If one black guy becomes president of the United States, that doesn't look good for the rest of us at all. It's just an anomaly to the rule. But if one person goes and robs a Walmart, you know, that makes us all look bad. You know, that's the analogy that's put out there to suck the life out of us. Well, you gotta think about it. There are so many of us that don't really get or understand what's happening here. Yeah, well, you know, it was quite difficult. It was quite difficult. I was I was a little disturbed and kind of like pulled back and drawn back by a lot of the things that I saw that happened in place. I was not happy that a lot of these things. Well, Jonathan Majors, it's like you feel like people should date who they want to date. If you feel like this person loves me and no one else has been loving me but this person, then fine. I don't know how you met this woman. I don't know what went on with this woman. I know she was in theater. Uh, This is part of the problems that everybody else. There's so many people that just don't get it or understand what's going on in the world, man, and it's nuts. But this is pure D racism at its finest, well, at its lowest, because we all know, we all sitting here and we all looking at it. We don't have to be conspiracy theorists. You should be able to date who you want, but we all know that is not true. It disturbed me to my soul to see such a heinous crime committed against a black man like this was. This wasn't a crime on her. This is a crime against Johnathan Majors. Because we all know, like I said, if that was a black man that we saw on that tape chasing down and running behind a white woman, that black man would be found guilty and charged with everything in the book. Just reverse the roles. And everything that we know in this case, reverse the roles. She's a big movie star, right? He's just a black man stage actor. Let's reverse it. She's got the Manhattan apartment and they're in a relationship. She calls the police saying that he was intoxicated, passed out on her floor in her closet. They come in there to interview him and sees that he has a laceration on his hand and a scratch behind his ear. And you think they gonna come coerce him into saying, "Were you attacked, sir? Did she do this to you? You could tell us." What does she do for a living? How could she afford to live in this place? Do you think any of these things are going to happen? They're not. Do you believe the public, the jury, watching the tape of Johnathan Majors chasing down her, this celebrity movie star? She's running down the street and he chasing behind her. Do you think for a second he's not going to jail? He's gonna be found guilty. And we all sitting here know it. We all sitting right here and we know that's gonna be the outcome of the case. Absolutely not. I've always been a person who thought differently. I think to the matter of public opinion, no. I think of the matter of this is how we should be moving accordingly. We need to have these things done. We need to not have this type of discord. You know, I give everybody and I treat every human being with respect because that's what it's about. I don't have to like you. You don't have to like me. I've met racist people. I've met people that don't even know they racist. I've met other people all the way, every walk and faction around this globe. And I've treated everybody the utmost respect. Now, what you don't do is allow them to disrespect. You see, that's where the lines get crossed. That's where everybody starts to say, hey, we have a problem here. You don't let them disrespect. You know, giving respect is one thing, but disrespect is a whole nother thing entirely. And that's where the problems lie. That's where the lines get crossed. That's where everybody say, oh, okay, I get it now. You think it was all easy coming out here? You see, where I'm from, I've been in both worlds. I'm from the city. I didn't grow up in the burbs. The burbs is where I moved to because my parents moved out here. So I was already out here. I didn't say I'm leaving the hood to move to the burbs. I went there, I stayed in the hood for my entire damn life. And even when I was in the burbs, I was still in the hood. That's why I can still go back to the hood and hang out with those guys. I'm not there to be in the streets at night running around with the young. That's not what I do. But there's two different worlds. See, in the city, most black men, most, the only white people that they see in those communities, period, are people of authority. The store owner, white. The bus driver, white. The principal at the school, white. The teacher, white. The police, white. Fire department, white. They see a lot of that. So the only people that they run across or that's white are in a position of power, authoritative positions. That's why they have a different respect for whites than they do the people that look just like them. They'll let a white guy walk in there and won't nothing happen to him. But somebody they know in their neighborhood, they like, oh yeah, we can get him. Nobody gonna care. Because they don't then they know in their minds there's ramifications if we touch him. Right, doctors, etc. So when most of the black people like that didn't like meet white people, they have this preconceived notions of putting him on an upper echelon above themselves because they're in a position of power or of authority. And they disrespect the people that look just like them, even if they were the authority. The black teacher, she get no respect. The black principal, they'll get no respect. The black police officer, he won't get any respect. The black fire department man, he won't get any respect. The black doctor, he can't get no respect. And they have the same position, but they will look at the white guy and put him on an upper echelon than themselves. That's psychologically done in the poor neighborhoods. I've seen it. Me, I've always been surrounded by Hispanics, by whites. My uncle was married to, well, he wasn't married, he dating a white woman. He's in music. So he was about to replace the Kool and the Gang singer, the lead singer in Kool and the Gang. He was about to go solo. My uncle was going to take his place, and they kind of look alike. So he got the audition to come out. His manager's white. He lived on the north side. So every woman he was dating that I've known since had been white before he lived with his longtime girlfriend, who was the mother of my cousins, all of them. My uncle married another white woman. My other uncle, he married a white woman. Married two of them and got divorced and had another kid with another white woman. So white people have been around our family. So we've known a lot of them. So it's not like I was growing up, the music producer, like Dana, whatever, man, I've been in his house. He's got pianos, everything. I was 3. I was like 3 years old. So we lived in the projects, like the Robert Taylor homes, 4101, South Federal. It don't even exist no more. The One is what it's called. 4101. So Robert Taylor homes, 8th floor. That's where we came from. And we had white people over there that used to show up, come up there to the projects, hang out. And they were rich. I mean, seriously, they owned horses. We were like, damn, they own a horse. We ain't know nobody who owned horses. Right. So we've always been around it. My mom worked downtown with nothing but white people. Her friends, most of them white, black, Hispanic, everywhere. So we never had the notion of because you're this race, you're automatically bad. We know that damn, everybody in the projects or anybody who's black in the hood, they just think if you're white, everything's good for you. You're white. You ain't gotta worry about nothing. There's gonna be a check in the mail for you when you can't pay your rent. And what's shocking is that y'all don't realize that white people go through the same problems too. They just don't have to deal with the problem of race, and they don't seem to understand it. Some of them, but they don't have to deal with race, but they still got to pay the taxes and bills. They got their own vices. They got all kind of shit going on with them. No, the people that's holding you back, like the people that's holding you back, they just happen to be white too. But they wouldn't even the white people that y'all thinking about, they wouldn't even conversate with them people. Them people wouldn't be allowed to come in their house. They'd be like, but I'm white. They'd be, look, you ain't coming in here. It's about status quo. You think them people in West Virginia, most of them are white as can be. West Virginia, country road. They can care less about that. West Virginia. All them West Virginians out there in them trailers, they white. What's wrong with them? Well, they ain't white no more? No. It's about status, station in life. Think Donald Trump cared about the West Virginians who voted for him? No, he will not make a stop in West Virginia. Trust me. No, but they white, right? No, it's about status. It's about rich or poor. Right, but the white people that do try to hold you back, those who keep making laws and changing, those racist upper echelon people, those are the ones that's got the problem, like your royal families and your generals, your governors, your politicians, those people in power. Those are the ones you need to be concerned about. The ones that's changes legislation to keep putting a damn invisible noose around your neck. Saying, sit back, depend on the government to give you a check. Don't try to do nothing with your life. Okay, cool. Oof. Ain't gonna get no bigger than this. Because what Johnathan Majors just showed you is what? You could make $300 million a year in a movie for them. They don't care. You shouldn't have been dating that white woman. And you bet not hurt her. And if it looked like you hurt her, that's all enough they need. They put their team behind it to make sure they slaughter him in the news, to make him look like the vicious Kong. And she was the white girl in the white dress, even though she's jumping on him and he trying to get away from her. He got a charge from the video from picking her up and putting her back in the car when she tried to run out in the street. And he said, I didn't want her to get hit by a car chasing behind me. So I picked her up and put her back in the car. And she jumped right back out again and grabbed me again. And I'm like, look, I just got to go. And he pushed her off of him like, look, I'm getting out of here. No, get away from me. You're not getting my phone. Which is his property. Floyd Mayweather was arrested for domestic. They had nothing to charge him with. So to only bring him in because she had no marks on her. So how are you gonna bring a woman in and charge Floyd when you want to bring him in, but you got nothing to stick? So they said, well, you took her phone. Her phone cost over $300. So now that's felony grand theft. That's what he was charged with, not domestic. Felony theft. They brought him in for that. They couldn't get him for domestic. So why can't she be arrested for trying to steal his phone? She's trying to steal his property, his phone. And she's saying it like it's all good. Like, I wanted to see what was on the message. I want to see who's sending him this message. What's that got to do with it? It's his phone. He don't want to give it to you, obviously. The man rather run down the street than give you his phone. But you feel comfortable enough to pull and hit on him and everything in the car. The driver's testimony that the woman was hitting him in the car and abusing him, that didn't seem to matter to the jury. It's not all about status quo when you're black. Like I told y'all think it's a joke. The news was not designed for you or I. People that look like this, had this complexion or darker, the news was not for you. They don't make the news for you. Nothing on the news is designed for you, except for sports. And now in sports, it'll be all right, here we go. Now that's for you. Nothing in the news is designed for you. It's designed to make you look bad. That's it. The news don't care about anybody black unless he's done a crime. You will be the star of the whole show leading off the hour. It'd be Raymond Felton, aka Ray Ray, decided to rob a currency exchange and go stop here and get a sandwich and paid for it with the money he stolen from the currency exchange. Police are on their way right now to take him down. No, I know a person that actually did that, plotted that out, and actually did that. He was arrested by one person who foiled the whole perfected crime. Person I knew was very smart. Could have been an architect, but he was just a master thief. He chose to be a master thief and take the short route instead of going to school, becoming an architect and design homes and everything. Like he was doing this in grammar school. Like, but he rather design layouts of a bank and and restaurants and get to the safe or the cash registers. And he thought out a strategic plan to rob a currency exchange and go next door to the restaurant and order something to eat. So when the police come and all the heat come, they would never think the person would be next door ordering something to eat. So while all the heat going on and all the commotion, he'll be sitting in the restaurant eating, and he'll wait till everything clear out and then he'll just walk away scot free. That was his plan, and it almost worked. If one person didn't see him come out of there and go into the restaurant next door, one person said, I thought I saw the guy come out of there and go into that restaurant. And that did him. They got him. Other than that, he was scot free. Yeah, it's on my hood stories. Don't forget to hit the like button, good people. Well, yeah, we got something crazy coming on the Patreon today. It's gonna shock a lot of people. It's shocking me that I'm like, man, am I half awoke or asleep? What's going on here? I don't even know what's happening. But like I told you, once you got one of the things you learn is when you come from the hood and you come to the burbs, or you're surrounded by majority white people than it is black, you start to learn as people that they're oblivious to a lot of stuff that happens in the world. They're oblivious unless it's on social media, it's in their little groups that they talk about and everything else. They're oblivious to everything that's going on in the world. Completely blinded. They only care about whatever superficial thing they got going on. And that's everything out here in the burbs. That's it. Let's go. Oh, it's a party going on over there. They don't even watch the damn news. These people are so goddamn superficial until somebody says something like, did you see what happened on the news? Only in their group. Did you see what happened in the news? No, what happened? This happened. It's on social media and everything. We need an outrage. And they get in a group chat. And then there's all these people that live in the area in the group chat. And then now they feel like there's a big thing going on and they want to tell you about it. Do you know that they have taken the phone booths down Where's no public phone booths? What if it's an emergency? Your phone is dead. What happened to the phone booths? I'm like, they ain't been phone booths. They didn't remove those years ago. No, the problem that they have with white people in suburbia is they try to care about things they don't care about. That's the problem. That is the problem. They try to care about things they don't care about, or otherwise respond to things that they know nothing about and don't care about. For instance, Beyonce, Formation Super Bowl halftime show. The next day, everyone, that performance was just atrocious. How dare they say anything? Suburban white women? Yeah, that's just bad. It was awful what Beyonce did. I'm like, what Beyonce did? You didn't even watch the goddamn Super Bowl. What the so you didn't even see the performance. What are you talking about? The news tell them what to do and they responded because everybody in their chat's like, oh, did you see what Beyonce did? Formation and had them out there and they was like protesting. Oh, that was awful. Well, we're not gonna cancel him, but the people he worked for, they gonna cancel him. They're already trying to do it. Did you see how quickly he was dropped by his agencies? They didn't even give him the benefit of the doubt. They dropped him immediately. So the New York Police Department was facing $100 million lawsuit and they don't have the money. So they knew they had to make something stick here. They was like, you guys just made a huge mistake. He called the police and you arrest him. Oh, well, we saw a white woman like this, his girlfriend, who went to the club. Oh, you guys have dropped a bag on this. They went and all of a sudden, the video that was in the ride share car, it doesn't exist no more. Where was that? It was not in the car anymore. The driver told everybody what happened. His testimony, where was him? The incident all happened inside of the car, she said. Meaning he did not attack her outside the car. He did not attack her when he got back in the house. He did not put a hand on her. He called the police to help her. So how is he arrested for assault? Nothing he did is on tape at all. You charged him with picking her up and putting her back in the car. She's not charged at all for coming after him and pulling on him and hitting on him, ripping his coat. His coat is all ripped up. They even got the coat. She done ripped up his damn coat. You know how hard you got to be pulling on somebody to rip their coat? Why are people racist? Because think about it. Why do people hate on other people? Why do other people lie on other people or hate other people? Because that person is doing better than them. Normally, every time somebody hating on somebody, somebody else is doing better than them. They're in a position to do better than them. They're reacting better than them. Everything is going on better. Well, when you start seeing the scenarios change, then you can go from there. It's not unbelievable because if you don't have your ducks in a row, all of this is going to happen to you. Period. $100 million lawsuit was going to be filed against the New York Police Department for the arrest of Johnathan Majors, which has cost him a lot of endorsements, a lot of movies, everything that was in line for him. They turned all of it and screwed it all up. Him and Michael B. Jordan was going to start producing films and making their own, producing, coming out with their production company. So now everything has changed. Exactly. But what are you gonna do? It's like Hulkamania. What you gonna do about it? This is a bad precedence. They need to appeal, get a new case, but the damage is done. Like New York City is doing the same thing they did to those 4 or 5 black men, those young kids that they threw under the bus, blame them for R wording a doggone white woman that they didn't even do. And the reason they kept them locked up was for money. Same thing. They knew it. They said, nope, we got a conviction. We're not overturning anything. They let it go on for years, but for money, they let them rot in jail. The West Virginia boys, who they accused of taking a young kid and sacrificing him, they took, what, 7 of them, locked them up for years. They were kids, they were grown men. Most of them got out, and they still, in order for them to get out, they had to sign paper saying that they wouldn't do anything, like wouldn't sue, wouldn't do any of this stuff. And a lot of them was willing to stay in there because they was like, we ain't gonna admit no guilt and we'll be out. They was like, no, we won't admit guilt. We didn't do it. So why would we admit guilt just to get out? And I done did all these years, stolen from me. That's the hurtful part. That's like years stolen. So they were white. So it's about a crime period. And that the state decided to do that because they're looking out for them. Chicago's no better. New York's no better. The system is broken. That's what's wrong. There is no justice system. The illusion is thinking it is. The system has been broken. You have to have relationships and connections to keep yourself out of those situations. Most of these powerful people, they own the judges, they own the banks, they own the district attorney. These guys are on a payroll. It's a dark, dirty game going on here. We'll get we'll get more into that on the Patreon, because if we keep going down this road, this thing will get real dark real fast. So no, he wanted her to be more supportive. Coretta Scott King wasn't submissive. Michelle Obama ain't submissive. She wanted her to be more like them as an example. Like, be more supportive, be more like them, not no wild, but she can't because she ain't got that in her. It's not where she come from. Those women come from struggle. She don't understand you. He said, like the late Paul Mooney said, I'm surprised you surprised. Not surprised. We kind of knew it was going to go in this direction because of the lawsuit, the potential lawsuit. Because once he announced that that was what he was going to do, like, his lawyer was like, yeah, we're going to sue the police, the New York State Police Department. He said, even Jada Kiss said it. Too black for MTV, but not black enough for BET. Just let me be. Right. Well, the sad part is that everything you do in the past, present, and future will always be magnified. Hmm. He said, after the devil broke you, he broke the mold. I know, right? Tell me about it. But I'm gonna get up out of here. Shouts out to Kwame Brown, Bus Life. Welcome to HD, IITV, Jag Sports with Jose Rodriguez, Scrub Zero, Damn D, Beef, Mondo Black TV, and we up out.